Good afternoon, everyone. It's just on 4 o'clock, so we've got quite a few people that have signed in already, but I just thought I would welcome you all to this afternoon's webinar, Sales Reporting and Filters. These interesting snips for the early arrivals, if you've taken time to read these come from comments from BNZ Bank here in New Zealand recently. I thought it was very interesting comments to make on making good use of our data as RFMS users. I've got another screenshot that I'd like to show you, and that's and the next one down, so let me try that, show that for you. And here's some stats from the US that we've been able to share that you might be interested in having a look at. The first three are about salespeople's performance as and follow-up. 48% of our salespeople never follow up at all. And then we've got 25% of our salespeople will make a second contact and then stop. And then 15% of salespeople will make not more than 3 contacts. But then what really happens what does it take to close a sale? And down the bottom here, we've got 2% of people will decide on the first contact, 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and 80% of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact. So if our salespeople are only making at most 3 contacts, there's a good number of sales conversions they are not making. But let me just have a look and see how many people have registered, and we'll be able to get underway very shortly. I think by the look of it, we can make a start now. Everyone's arrived very on time, so wonderful. Thanks very much for attending today. I'm just going to take you to the second shot here so that you can have a look. This screen here shows us the little white arrow pointing to the right with the square box of orange. You can make your audio box go away if you want to have a look at that. If you want to type a question, we have Susie Monk here on hand to answer our questions for us while I'm doing the presenting. So you can use your hand and type your question in the box here, and Susie will respond as she can. If we have any too hard questions, let us know and we'll answer them by way of phone call with you afterwards. The point of today's discussion is to just show you some of the things that RFMS can do. You may well be making the most of these opportunities already. Well done if you are. Right, I'll just slide this PowerPoint presentation off so that we have our RFMS demo database up for you to see. And then we'll carry on. So the first thing I want to look at for you is how do we work out our quote conversion ratio? How quickly and easily can we do that? The best way that I have found is to come into order entry, and we go to reports, and we use our quote information report for this. Just pull that into the center there. I print both reports, the first one which is quotes not exported, those that we haven't got, and those that have been exported for a specific date range that you're wanting to look at. I'm just going to pull in some data that's up from the 1st of July to now, and we're going to look at Caden's results. So let me print that to screen and see what it returns. So here we have Caden. I'll just make that slightly larger for you. Hopefully you can see that. Has a number of quotes that he's generated, and none of them have been converted here. They're all not converted. Down the bottom, we can see that it's 6 orders, and the sales value is 34,425.29. So if you have a piece of paper handy, you might like to write down those key numbers. 6 is the number of quotes generated, not yet converted, and the sales of 34,429.29. The next report is showing us all of the orders that Caden has been able to close, this quotes that he's been able to close during this period, and there is 5 of them, 5. And the sales value for those 5 converted quotes are 48,206.81. So we have 6 unconverted quotes. We have 5 converted quotes. That's the total number of quotes generated during that period of time of 11. So my conversion rate is 5 divided by 11. And that gives me my conversion rate for the number of quotes generated, which is 45%. Now, it's always interesting and important, I believe, to understand your conversion rate based on your net sales. So we had quotes generated unconverted of 34. We had converted sales of $48,000 here. Add the 2 of them together and then divide the 48,206 into the total sales number, and you have the sales revenue conversion rate. So we had 34,425 sales for unconverted quotes, converted quotes of 48, total quote value 82. So we're going to go 48,207 divided by 82,412, and we've got a 58% conversion rate based on the net sales. The conversion rates that you're finding based on your number of orders and your sales value will tell a story about each individual salesperson, and from that story you'll be able to coach them to improved performance. Just as a side, I'm just going to go back to page 1 to make sure that you understand what the O, P and R means, because that's very important in terms of your quotes. Notice Angelic Properties has 3 quotes generated. The O means the original quote that was created by Caden for Angelic Properties. P is a primary and a related quote. Okay, so we've got 2 sales opportunities here for Angelic, not 3. The O is the original and it must be a particular area. P used to be an original, but now we've got a related quote attached to it. That's only 1 opportunity. So that 6,101 and that 5,464 is 1 sales opportunity, but we've had to give them another option, as it were. So we've got 2 sales opportunities with Angelic Properties. So we want to make sure that our salespeople are using, when they're copying a quote, they're answering that question that comes back, is this a related quote? A related quote is an option quote rather than another opportunity to sell. So very simple maths, and you can figure out what your conversion rates is for the store if you have the report as a combined, and individually for your salespeople, so that you can help coach them as individual salespeople. Right, so let me just go to my running sheet and I'll move on to what else we can do in order entry. Do we use the sampling option to track our samples? The black binoculars here gives you an opportunity to track a number of things. And if you wanted to know if you were generating quotes that are for sample loans only, you can filter so that you're only getting those quotes. I'm going to filter it here just for my name here on the left, Christine Ogden, and I'm interested in my quotes where I have not had anything exported, so I haven't had any conversions. Okay, I'll use a date range of the 1st of the 7th 19 through to today, and let's see what we can do in terms of following up on quotes. I've got 1 sample loan quote out there for Kylie Ranger, so that's very easy. I can click on that and it's going to show me the options. So Kylie took away some Saddle Hill and some Lane Cove. I can make a phone call to Kylie, a follow-up, I can do an internal note, I can date stamp it as I need to, so that I've rung Kylie and I can do whatever it is I need to do. All right. Now, instead of having to think about my options again, what do I do to follow up on my quotes? I can tick that, put my date range in, which is a consistent one. It might be I'm doing on a weekly basis, so I'd have the week, and I can save, come down here and save this filter and call it sample loan follow-ups. All right. And it will, and I'm going to save that if it will allow me to. So the next time I come in here, I can right-hand click, use my mouse and right-hand click on here, and I've got all my saved options. Here I've got samples loaned, and I can just double click on that and it will load it up for me. Okay, so right-hand click and you can have saved filters. Now, another save filter that you might be interested in with quotes, of course, is you want to follow up on quotes that, I'm not interested in my quote, I've done my follow-ups on my samples, now I want to come in and have a look at my quotes that aren't converted yet so that I can track them and see what's going on. Thinking about it as an individual salesperson, Christine Ogden, my quotes that aren't converted for the period, this week, this month, whatever the specific date range is, save it all the time. So I pull them up and I've got two. I've got my sample loan to Kylie, but I've also got this quote out for 6940 over here to Big Al. So again, I can open that quote up, see what's going on, give them a call, make an internal note to follow up with, and see what we can do to help Al make his decision. Okay. If I'm a store owner or a sales manager and I want to know all of the quotes for all of my people, okay, I can pull them all up and I can see what all the quotes that are outstanding that haven't been converted. I can see the types of quotes they are. Again, if you wanted to load that up, you can use the customer type to say, I'm only interested in having a look at my residential area at the moment, or whatever the case may be. There is a bit of a trick you can do, and anything in a browse screen, if you have a look at your keyboard, you can go Control, Alt, Shift, C, and it's going to copy that data, and when you say OK to that, you can open up Excel and you can paste it into Excel. All the columns that are along the top here that it's showing will now transfer to Excel so that you can use, do filtering, pivot tables, however it is that you want to do. Another way we can have a look and see how we're going with our sales leads, if we're tracking sales leads, is to use CMM sales leads here. So client management, and we come in and we've got our leads. I'll just go backwards one. So when you first open it, the screen looks like this, but we're looking at sales leads. So I'm going to come up to L for sales leads here, and it's going to show me all the sales leads that are on the dashboard for all salespeople. If it was Christine Ogden, you could limit it, and I could just filter it so that I'm just seeing my own. And here are my three here. Now, this red one is because it was created and I needed to do an activity on the 8th and it hasn't. So it's turned to red because I'm behind with my follow-up activity. I can click my completed and I can see I've got 3 quotes and I've got 2 orders from quotes. All right. So if I was to click on this one here for David Cameron, I've loaded this up as David Cameron. It was an incoming call. Having talked to him, the potential for the sale is $4,500. The status of this sales lead is I've generated a quote, and the quote is up here. It's linked, and it says I've loaned some samples to him. If there was another quote, we can generate the quote. We don't have to go into order entry. We can come in here and generate a quote from here. We can create a job checklist so that there is a nice wee flow for managing your sales lead. So here I've created, first of all, I'm going to the install consult. I might loan samples. I'll send them a thank you text. I'll follow up on the samples. I'll get the product. And here's a nice wee flow of the sale, of the things that we expect would happen to confirm a sale. And as we've completed them, we can change the status as we go through the list that we've created. This can all be set up in RFMS, your database. I'll just cancel out of there though, and let's go back to here, and I can print, come up to the printer icon at the top, go to sales performance here, and I can put in my same date range to the 31st, and I can do sales leads to quotes. Okay, and I'll just press the print button. And this gives us a little bit of a report. I'll just go to the top. That tells me that I had 5 sales leads for Christine Ogden, and I've got 2 orders. Okay, so I've created 5 sales leads, 5 quotes, and I've got 2 quotes, 2 orders out of that. So my conversion rate is 40%. This report only shows me the number of rather than the sales value. That's why the previous report from the quote information report gives you a nice number of the sales value that you're converting. I've shown you, right, now let's go back. What other things could a salesperson be interested in knowing? I'm going to go back to order entry, use my binoculars again, and as a salesperson I would be interested in, so I'll just pull up my name for my sales, okay, and install date. Here it is. I'm wanting to know everything that is been installed from the beginning of time up to the end of last month that hasn't perhaps been job costed yet. So maybe the administrators, let me get out of this one here for a moment and go to orders would be helpful. So here we've got the delivery date option, and I'm just going to go and have a look at undelivered sales only because I want to know anything that's not been job costed yet. So I'm interested in that. So here I've got a number of jobs here that have been installed. You can see over to the right hand side for this one for Raywin Best that the install date was the 6th of the 9th, but it's not yet closed off. So I could be wanting to find out what it is that we're doing here. As a store owner, we're wanting to do this for all jobs. We're not specific. We're going to go for our lay date up to the end of the month. What's not yet job costed or closed, and we'll say okay. And we know that we've got to get all of these ones here invoiced and job costed before we are wanting to end our month of September, so that we can include these sales in our P&L result. Again, you can save these, right? So we've got invoiced or installed this week but not yet invoiced. You can save them as a filter, so it's good regular housekeeping at the end of the week or on the Monday for the previous week. What's been installed but not invoiced? Of course, that's going to help with our collections. At the end of the month, you might run one for what's been installed but not job costed. Anything left behind here, we need to understand why it is that it hasn't been job costed. If it's not job costed, it's not going to go to our P&L. I'm going to go to sales reports now. So that's this icon here. And we're going to go to sales reports, and I'm going to show you a few things. File, sales, and sales totals. And I'm going to put in the same date range. It will make it easier. All right, I'm going to do it by sales rep, but I'm not going to choose, there's not much in this database. I'll just choose a couple of people that I know have got something, and you can do either written or delivered or both. All right, and I'm going to compare to the same period last year. So let's, again, whenever you see the save load at the bottom, that means this report or filter can be saved as something that you want to do on a regular basis. I'm going to print that to screen so that you can have a look. I'll just make that a little bit larger for you. And here we have the 1st to the 7th to the 31st this year compared to last year. I didn't combine the 2 stores, so here's my delivered and here's my written. Okay, 1.6 and versus, so here we've got Caden and Christine, and Caden and Christine have got nothing delivered at the moment, and for the activity for last year. Okay, it gives you this gross sales, which is your GST inclusive invoiced amount, the GST and your net sales, and the percentage of sales who did the work. All right. Now let me go back again to another report. Another report that I found really useful was this one here in profitability, orders, quotes, profit report. When I was a store manager, I wanted to know what my confirmations were this week or this month, you know, so it was year to date this week, year to date this month, to make sure that we were going to be on target. I always had a GP dollar amount that I knew that I had to get, that I wanted to get to, and so I was checking every day to see what was happening. So I'll just print this to screen for the month of October. You can print the balance due. That's a good indicator of whether people are collecting deposits according to your terms of trade. I've got it as print preview, so that should be good. Right, so here we've got Caden's got 4 orders for the month of October, and this is one for Larry. The first line along here relates to all of the sales. Then we've got cost, profit, and GP percentage. So running along the top, we know that the out here to the right, that's the inclusive amount. Okay, the 17,985.55. Balance due underneath is 10. We know that she's collected a deposit for $7,000. This column here is your GST exclusive amount, and then of course it also shows you the GP. A good opportunity to have a look at the GP and make sure that the GP is within the range that you're looking for. We go down to Chris Ogden, and we've got a negative amount of GP here, so we'd be looking at that and saying what's going on, and we could ask the question. And we go through and we've got all of our salespeople. Christine Ogden has sold something to Susie. She's collected the deposit, so that's all very good. So we get to the bottom of the report and we see the grand total, and we've got $27,811 worth of GP dollars for confirmed sales, written, and the net sales is that. And we can keep track of it. So I used to keep it for the week. On a Tuesday morning, I'd come in and I'd run this report. What did I do on Monday? On Wednesday morning, I'd come in and I'd run it for Monday and Tuesday, and right through to the end of the week. And am I going to get the number that I want at the end of the week? Am I going to get the number for the month? A really good check on how people are going. The job cost report. Now, let me just go back a little and I'll just show you something else that you can do with that report as well, just while we're on that screen. Is this here report options. You can actually just make sure and check on the low and the high GPs. So if you have a minimum GP percentage that you wanted to check up on, no one's allowed to sell anything that's less than 20% GP, you could pull those jobs out, again save them as your low GP checks, and therefore just report on what those GP numbers are. And you might also want to actually say, well, actually I'm going to be a little bit skeptical on anything that's over 42%, whatever the case may be, up to 100. And you want to check those really high GP numbers because maybe they've forgotten to add a line of cost in there somewhere along the line. So that's a really good report you can use to check your orders, and you can use it to check your quotes as well. So if you're wondering of some detail of GP about the quotes, you can have a look at this. The next report I was going to show you is the job cost analysis report. Most of you should be familiar with this. This number here, this is going to report, let me do, I'm going to do it across multiple months only because of the size of the database. Summary is going to give you just a summary of the activity that's happening. Let me show you that. Now these sales are your job costed finished completed sales, and they're going to post, this is the number that's going to post through to your P&L when you close your GL journal for the month. So my sales for this period is very poor. My exclusive GST revenue number is going to be 588758. The 6478 is my GST inclusive number. That's what's going to be posted to my trade debtors or accounts receivable. Down here I've got my tax liability. Yeah, okay. Which is the 10% showing as if I'm an Australian company, and here I've got my GP for the month. And then down here, total adjustments to inventory. If there was any number showing in here, that is the sum of the inventory that's been written off in your inventory module, and that's going to create a general ledger journal posting when you close the month, and it's going to withdraw it out of inventory and debit cost of materials. So you're very interested in knowing who's made some stock adjustments, because that's going to come straight off your GP. You can have a look at this report line by line and by clicking the detail for the same period. And you can sort by, these are your options. If you wanted to sort by salesperson to see how well they're doing for their delivered jobs, by customer, job number, billing group, customer type, whether it's residential, commercial, here it is here. But anyway, just let's show you what it looks like. And it just gives you the line by line detail. There's not too much going on here. But it's going to show you line by line detail for all of the jobs. Now this job has been unjob costed, so that's why we're seeing multiple activity here. It's been job costed and then unjob costed. And then Christine's got a sale down here. All right. You'll show the unjob costed one if you have the job cost include unjob costed checked. Remember, job cost post to your P&L at the end of the month. And finally, the big report that takes a bit of getting used to is your material analysis report, and I'll just briefly talk you through how this will work. Once you've mastered this, it is the single biggest report you can have, and you can slice and dice all of your data by using this one report, taking it out to Excel, and then using your filters and your pivot tables and the like. All right, so the top here is a sort order. How do I want my material to be returned to me? In this instance, I've chosen to do salesperson. I want everything to come back to me in salesperson order. The next section that you're interested in is, what is the line status? Now, why do we have this? This is because this report pulls all of the data from every single line on every single order that falls within the specifics of this report. So if I wanted to have just job costed or closed, I'm going to untick all of those, and I'm only interested in the line status job costed. If I wanted written, so I don't care what status the order is in, if it's a confirmed order, then I'm going to tick all of those, and I'm interested in that. Okay. All of my product categories, if I just wanted to, if I was only interested in roles, I'm going to delete all of those, and I'm just going to have my roles and my items and services. You can tick those and it will tag them all for you. Salespeople, customer types, combine your stores or not. If you're using fibers, you can also sort and figure out what it is that you're selling versus wool versus SDN versus triester versus polyester, whatever the case may be, you can do it. Then you've got to start thinking about the date range that you want and where the date range originates from. So if you wanted written orders, you would use your order dates to and from. If you wanted invoiced sales, you'd use your invoice date. If you wanted job costed, you're going to use your DEL date. Okay. If you wanted to know what's been installed but not closed off and get the line by line activity, you would use your estimated install date to and from. So you have plenty of options to have a look at that. The first time you ever run this report, you're going to want to click on the more parameters and make sure that all of these things here are taken care of and added on. As you can see, if you have it set up, you could just refer, well, what are my sales based on Google? Or what are my sales based on my yellow pages and my website? So you might say, I want to do my website and my Google site, whatever the case may be. You might say, I just want those that have been referred. So if you've set up your ad source, you can actually report back on that. You could have job sites, order types. These things out the back here are customizable based on how you've set it up in your system. But either way, if you don't have anything in here tagged, the report won't run. You get enormous amounts of information, more than can fit on a page if you take it out to Excel. Okay, this report prints on legal sized paper, which is, so you'll want to always save it to a PDF. Let me just run it though and show you what it looks like. So here we've got, I'll just see if I can make that a bit bigger for you. So here we've got the sales rep, and then it's going to list all of the invoices, but it lists every single line. So this AI000134 invoice has 3 lines of it: accolade, luxury underlay, and carpet install. And you can see the line detail here, up here, is GST exclusive sales amount, and here's your profit, which is your GP amount here. It tells you your quantity, okay, and it tells you your order or your delivered date if it's been job costed. Right? You get a lot more information than this if you take it out to Excel, which gives you a lots of opportunity to data mine. So this is the best report you're going to ever come across in terms of, I want to get all my data out and I want to do it by product category, or I want to do it by salesperson. Product category would mean it would report to you under these here. And so you'd be able to work out, for example, how much of your revenue, $220,000 for the month, that 50% of it's carpet and 7% of it's vinyl, and so much of it is ceramic tiles and timber. You'll be able to figure out the sales by your product category. Well, there it is. I've taken up half an hour of your time. There is so much more to be had from reporting within RFMS, but I hope it's given you a taste of what it is that RFMS can do to assist you in finding out what your conversion rate is, your sales leads inquiries, and how to manage those. Look after your sales team and coach them to improve performance, and therefore then also data mine what it is that you are selling. Feel free to come back to any one of the RFMS team if you have more questions about any of the reports today, and any other reports that you might like that will help you with your looking after and minding your business. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.